What's up, everybody?
You were pretty critical of yourself after the last game.
Yeah.
Now that you've reviewed the tape, practiced a couple days, what more can you add to that? Anything different from it? Anything better?
No, I mean, I think you go back and watch. I think there was a few passes that we just didn't connect on that would have made it feel a lot better and look a lot better. And then on top of that, not throwing a pick would have made it feel a lot better. You have those games, you have those moments, and it's like I said after, it's being able to figure out what maybe the issue was or what was that feeling was, and then if you ever start to have a moment like that or a game like that, you know that moment, you know the feeling, and you snap out of it or you figure out whatever you have to do to get out of it, and you go help your team win a game.
You don't throw a lot of picks.
Yeah.
Does that affect you? Like
Throwing picks?
in the moment of the game, like is it harder for you to get over that?
No, it bothers me more when I miss a pass rather than throwing a pick. Weirdly enough, because it's it's something wide open or I didn't give the receiver a good enough ball or anything like that. That bothers me more than throwing a pick. Those moments happen where you throw a pick and we got the defense, special teams, to be able to help in those moments. And from there, when we get back on the field, it's time to roll.
What do you think can be done to help? What do you think can be done to help the red zone efficiency?
Better execution from all of us. That's what red zone comes down to. The cornerbacks and safeties and linebackers don't have to drop as much and as far, and so it comes down to just better execution, landmarks. Me being on point with that. Speaking of pass game mainly, and then run game. It just comes down to execution also. We're dialing those things in, and we've been pretty good, but we can be a whole lot better with the type of players we have, and obviously head duck.
Caleb, what's the challenge of trying to work on things in your individual game during the season when you have this pace of coming off last game, then it's time to get ready for Baltimore?
Yeah.
Focusing on some things that you want to work on, like you talked about, throwing on the run, throwing accuracy, things like that.
Yeah, I think you come in here in extra time and you work on those things, and then we have as quarterbacks and things like that, we have a little bit not extra time, but you have we don't go over and return kicks and stuff, and so you have that little bit of time to go work on stuff, and it's 5-10 minutes, whatever it may be, but those add up throughout the season, and with it only being game 6 that we just played, going on game 7. Week 8. I think it's a long season. Those things, like I said, will add up over time, and they'll come to light, and they'll hit at the right time.
What stands out to you about the Ravens defense, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I think coach over there, Coach Harbaugh, has had 2 seasons where they haven't been great. So it's, I mean, if you really think about it, they've been a top team in the NFL for the past 18 years, 20 years or so, however long he's been coaching, and so they got great players. They got a great defensive coach, defensive players, and they got a few guys down, offense and defense, but I think they got guys coming back off the bye week, and so this is a big game for us. It's a big game for them. And being able to come in here with the right mindset as us and execute plays that we need to execute gives us the best chance to go win the game.
With the way the running game has come alive the bye week, what's your interpretation of why it has clicked the way it has?
Yeah, I think it's us just going back to our base rules of stuff. A lot throughout the weeks or throughout the bye week, and the past couple of weeks has been coach going back on our basics and bringing up things that we talked about in training camp and all these different things, and so I think it's just going back to those things and to where our roots are, and when you go back to those things and you figure out why, and then you go execute. A lot of times, like I've said before, you go execute those base things. That go on within football, steps and hand placement when it comes to blocking and those type of things, and tracks and landmarks and wide receiver perimeter blocking. When you have all of that start to hit and click, and a lot of times that's just the base things. It's not even the scheme or anything. You do those things, you can positively affect the team on the ground, and I think we've done a good job with that the past 2 weeks since bye week.
How do you get the passing game to be?
So far, and just getting comfortable with the NFL and your offense, and then we've been asking you all season, how do you get him more involved in the offense?
Yeah, I think he's done a great job personally. I think he's a smart guy, tough football player. I think we've all been able to see that from his days at Michigan to here, and then the safety blanket of a receiver when he's running routes and things like that. That's how it feels when I'm back there, and so we've had back-to-back games and big moments where the ball has gone to him, and so I think that's just kudos to the type of player he is, how smart he is, how good of a athlete he is, and obviously how much he's been trying to get on the same page with me, and I think that's just going to keep growing with our years here together.
That third down
Coach was
situation, the third, like you were alluding to those big moments, the third down situation where you picked up the first and the fourth down at the end of the Saints
So,
game.
yep.
Was that call sheet or is that just, your read on that?
Yeah, that's I would say both. Coach, gave a great call, and then from there that was just going through the reads, and he ran a great route and gave him the space. Defense gave him the space, and he created the space also, and so just gave him a great ball. And then the fourth down, trying to give him a ball to just get down and be safe, and so we can nail it.
Coach was saying he wants you guys to be more efficient on offense, obviously in the passing game. How
Yeah.
close do you think it is to kind of finding that rhythm and consistency?
Extremely close. I think you go back and you don't throw the pick, and you complete two or three of those on the runs, and the efficiency wise is up there with 70%, and so it comes down to super small things, and it comes down to three completions, and with being able to be more efficient and keep the team on the field and making plays, and so that's a collective thing. Starts with me. And then it boils down to me being able to give the wide receivers a good ball, them catching it, and creating space for themselves and things like that. So it's a collective thing, but it starts with me, and we've been getting better with on the run efficiency, and passing wise, and then in the pocket we've been pretty solid, and so we can we start hitting on those on the runs. It opens up the offense because those second plays become big explosive plays after a defense called maybe the perfect defense, or maybe we something happened with the up front or anything, and we start hitting on those, and big plays start happening. It looks a lot better than it did last week.
Caleb, how do you think you've done so far with taking the quote unquote layups, taking the easy passes when they're there?
I think I've done a lot better than I've done coming from college or in college to last year, and I think that's been a constant thing in my mind, is that I want to be able to keep this offense on the field so that we can keep marching down the field and getting these first downs. And like I've said this whole season, we get our first down, we start rolling, and the shots start coming, the trick plays or the runs, and now we're creasing keepers and all these different things. So it's just being able to get that first down, and I think a big part of that is just being able to keep the team on the field. And I think a lot of it has been sometimes the team drops out on that first down, and it's like, okay, here we go, check down, and or the quick passes and just getting the ball in those guys' hands.
Caleb, according to the official count of the Wieners Circle, if Ben Johnson takes his shirt off during or after any Chicago Bears victory this year, it's once again free hot dogs for the city. Will you encourage him to do that?
I don't know if I'm going to encourage him to take his shirt off, but if he does it, he loves Chicago, and I think he's been enjoying Chicago, so he may or may not do it. So we'll see. But I'm not going to encourage the guy to take off his shirt and for some hot dogs. But yeah.
As long as we're going on football here, what was it like to hang out with Adam Sandler and all the rest of those guys?
Yeah, it was great. You grow up watching him, and then being able to hang around him, and watch him at work, and live. It's a dream. Watching all of his movies and things like that, and it was a good time with the guys.
You have a favorite Sandler movie?
I mean, it probably have to be Happy Gilmore. Yeah.
Ben said earlier, like he was talking about, we have a lot of mouths to feed on offense, and obviously he has to be cognizant of that because he's a play caller. Do you think about those things?
My job is to go out there, and if read one is open, and DJ, Rome, Luther, I can keep rolling down If those guys are at number 2 and 3 and 4, and number 1 is open, you know, it's to throw it to number 1. I think the guys understand that. I think they also understand winning is a lot more fun. And so if they do not get targeted on that drive or that game, you know, I think you know, they're okay with it as long as we win. And so as any wide receiver competitive would be, but obviously those guys want the ball, and we always want to, you know, get the ball to them whenever we can. And so if one's not open and they're at 2, hopefully they run a good route and get open. But no, it's not on my conscious mind. It's my job is to go out there and deliver the ball and go win the game.
Thanks, Kevin.
The Bears.